Welcome to another edition of the Community Soldier. I'm your host, Justin Counts. I'm just a community soldier. You're all community soldiers. Thank you and welcome to another episode. Beautiful Monday, April 27th. 2020. As we get to another week, we see restrictions are starting to loosen up. I wonder how you guys feel about that. You guys gonna have to write in, leave some comments, leave it on either the Facebook page, the YouTube page, or just come on our Spreaker website and leave us a comment here. Make sure to follow all of our pages to get the latest updates. Community Soldier 517. I see they got another rally planned for tomorrow. I don't know what they're going to be rallying over, but I see they're going to be out there. Today at 11, Lifeways, they got a live Q&A, a mental health Q&A. They're going to answer any questions that you have over the Zoom. You can get information for that on the Lifeways Facebook page. They have a link for you to register for their webinar in advance. That meeting is going to start today at 11 a.m. So make sure you tune in. Mental health is definitely a topic for today. Mental health. Lifeways wants you to know that we are in this together and help is always available. If you're feeling alone and struggling, you can reach out to Lifeways Community Mental Health 24/7 by calling the 1-800-284-8288. Mackey, Michigan Automotive Compressor is proud to announce $50,000 gift to the Jackson COVID-19 Response Fund to help alleviate the impact of business closures and other issues due to the pandemic. The fund is administered by the United Way of Jackson County and the Jackson Community Foundation. One of the big challenges I've been seeing lately is insurance. Well, I got a little deal for you guys, exclusive for my listeners. United Way is proud to partner with Family Wise. They're going to be able to offer you lower drug costs. They're also going to be able to provide resources for delivery of your medication, which is huge. Most of the challenges my people have is transportation. And especially when you're disabled and you're in a walker and you're in a wheelchair, it's hard to get to your prescriptions, let alone to your doctor. It's very easy. It's a free card. You can save up to 45% off on your prescriptions, whether you have insurance or if you have insurance, you can use it with your insurance. All you have to do is call the customer support team. They'll walk you through your prescription order, and they have delivery options available at no additional cost. Like I said, all you have to do is call the Family Wise toll-free number at 1-800-222-2818. A Family Wise team member will work with you and your local participating pharmacy to arrange and schedule delivery to your home. Ask your pharmacist to apply your Family Wise card number to receive a discount on your prescription. Also, real quick, another resource I want to let you guys know about, local here in Jackson, is Michigan Ability Partners. Some of you may know them as MAPS. Now, a lot of people, they don't like MAPS. I'll just tell you the truth. That's because MAPS has a payee service. And for those that don't know what a payee service is, sometimes it's mandated that a person has to have a payee service, which is a person who is going to handle all of their financial obligations for them. The courts may rule that a person is not mentally capable of handling their finances, so they might have a company like MAPS come in and do that for you. That's just one of the services that they offer. Man, they have so many more services. I was looking on their website. They do job development. They do career development. They offer services in housing stability. They also do supportive services for veterans. So they can help you in areas of homelessness. If you're in emergencies where you're facing eviction and you have to be rapidly rehoused so that you don't face homelessness. These are the type of issues that they can help you with. Their office is 604 Greenwood Place, Jackson, Michigan. Their phone number 517-841-5780. You can also go on their website. Before we get into today's topic, I'm going to drop you guys something exclusive.
JR, 517G Studios, Jacktown, we in here, let's get it. All I need is the one shot, God gave me a chance, I got one shot. Provide for my family, I planted my seed, I got one shot. Live life like my last, one shot. I am who I am, one shot. If you trouble, don't bother me, cause all I need is that one shot. All I need is the one shot, God gave me a chance, I got one shot. Provide for my family, I planted my seed, I got one shot. Live life like my last, one shot. I am who I am, one shot. JR. If you trouble, don't bother me, cause all I need is that one shot. Yeah, I'm on my way to the top, I can't quit, I can't stop. Ain't no turning back now, cash flow can't stop. Yes sir, I'm conceited, my focus is money. In my 20s, surrounded by demons, lost but still connected to God. He gave me the strength for a reason. My music is therapy, my pain never left me a reason. Pops died in November, turned my heart cold like the winter. I remember days when I thought the streets had love, but I was blindfold. I remember days when 360 waves and Burberry cologne get your girl in my phone. Nowadays we in two different time zones. I was raised to be a man and stand on my word. You was raised to run like hell and shoot first. I got a story to tell. My life is more than just music. I got a story to tell. My life is more than just music. All I need is the one shot. God gave me a chance, I got one shot. Provide for my family, I planted my seed, I got one shot. Live life like my last, one shot. I am who I am, one shot. If you trouble, don't bother me, cause all I need is that one shot. All I need is the one shot. God gave me a chance, I got one shot. Provide for my family, I planted my seed, I got one shot. Live life like my last, one shot. I am who I am, one shot. If you trouble, don't bother me, cause all I need is that one shot.
Shout out to Jay Rice, aka JR the Great. That was a nice track. Want to give him a round of applause on that, definitely. Wouldn't be right if I didn't take these type of opportunities to talk to you guys about real issues, real challenges, real struggles. That's why I created this type of platform, to reach out to people, because not many times do we get a solid chance to really reach people in a one-on-one atmosphere where you can talk freely and talk comfortably. And here I think this is a platform where we can talk semi-freely, semi-comfortable about a lot of issues. And one of the major issues that I know myself I've struggled with in the past is mental health. It's one of those issues and one of those things that most of us in life deal with, because studies show that even here in Michigan alone, 80% of our population has dealt with depression. Whether it be from the careers that we choose, we see that Michigan has one of the highest rates of suicides amongst our correctional officers. We also see some of the highest numbers of overdoses, all linking to depression. So I wanted to talk to you guys about ways of overcoming and defeating the depression. Now, I'm no clinical doctor. I don't have a degree, but I do have experience. And one thing that I know is experience can get you a long way. See, I got my job not because I had degrees, not because I went to fancy colleges, but because I knew how to operate the streets. I knew how to communicate with the people of all income levels in the streets. I knew how to identify with the person who was struggling filling out the application for DHS services, because I myself had to fill out those same applications at one point. I can identify with the felon who struggles to get a job, being told no after no after no. I can identify with him as well as having to go through those situations. I can identify with the single mother who struggles to find reliable daycare, as I have sisters who have children, and I watch how they have to pay outrageous prices for daycare. So my experiences in life have gotten me to the position that I am in life, where I have a career using my experiences. And I figure these same experiences that I have, I can use to help others overcome some of the challenges that they may face. And for me, one of the biggest things was back 2010, I was clinically diagnosed with bipolar major depression. I would go through bouts of sadness out of nowhere, and it would seem like I would fall into this black hole of sadness, this black hole of darkness, and nothing could pull me out of that darkness. Nothing mattered at that time, whether I lived or whether I died. Nothing, no actions, no repercussions, nothing could possibly matter. That's just complete depression. Now, being a young man in his mid-20s, African American man at that, who over his life, mental health was always looked at as something that was weak. It was very stigmatized in our community, and it was not acceptable for the man to talk about his feelings, or for a man to not be able to manage his emotions and his feelings. It was never acceptable. As a matter of fact, in my household, men didn't even cry. So growing up, I thought that a man had to be tough. I thought that a man took on the whole problems of the world. And I thought that a man did not show any emotions from holding the weight of all of those problems. I thought that a man just crashed and burned with the ship, and he got back up and picked the pieces up and started all over again. I quickly learned that life wasn't like that for me. The only way that I overcame it was I developed some personal tools that helped me, and I'd like to share those tools with you. It's basically just 4 steps. 4 easy steps that anybody can do. Really easy. But let's talk about depression for a little bit. What is depression? Well, for a lot of people, depression is different. But everyone goes through some type of similar type of depression, the sadness. You start to lose interest in the things that you used to have interest in. So your favorite hobby, all of a sudden, your favorite hobby it doesn't bring any enjoyment to you anymore like it used to. It doesn't give you the same feeling. It's just boring, and you just stop doing it all of a sudden. You lose interest in things really quick. People who are severely depressed, they spend money. They spend money poorly. Often, they spend it on other people, trying to make other people happy. Sometimes they spend it on themselves, trying to make themselves happy. These are signs of people who are suffering depression. It's when you have a sadness that just won't seem to go away, and you wake up every morning and everything is negative. You guys know what depression is. So how do you get out of it? Do you just wallow in it forever and just let it continue to eat away at you every single day? No. In order to defeat the depression, you have to understand that the battle and the war is within the mind. Because this is where everything resides. This is where all the thoughts and all the fears and all the emotions, everything resides within the mind. So when you learn to conquer the mind, you can conquer the depression. See, I started to join my journey, and I started to realize what these different things that I was putting into my body, what it was doing to my body, and the effects, what it would do to my mind. That's when I was able to get off all of the depression medications. Was when I stopped putting all of the poisons in my body that I was putting in my body before. Those poisons were causing me to have an imbalance in my brain. This imbalance in your brain is what causes the depression. So when you learn certain things about yourself, that knowledge of self, I'm going to mention that again. When you truly know yourself, you can realize very early when you're starting to slide into the depression. Because there's a difference between just being sad and then being depressed. So you can be sad for a little bit and then pull yourself up out of it, and then you go about your day. But when you're depressed, that sadness just never goes away. That negative energy just stays with you forever. It never goes anywhere. The only thing that can change that is you. And how do you change that? Step one is to recognize it. You have to recognize when you're starting to fall into your depressions. When you treat it early, it's just like any sickness. When you catch it early, you have a better chance of beating whatever it is that you're fighting. So I always tell myself, recognize it early. Start to see the patterns early. Whatever it is your pattern is, when you start to get sad, you might be an eater. You might just eat. I do that. I eat away my feelings. Whole box of pizza, gone. Whole 2 liter, gone. I ate it so fast. Drank it all up. Sad for no reason. You recognize it. Once you recognize it, then you can treat it. How do you treat it? That's different for everybody. Everybody has their own special way of resetting. For me, I can just put my headphones on, get some good music on, get in my zone, and give me a couple hours and I could work away most of my problems away really fast with that. Or sometimes it might be, I might have to holler at one of my closest friends like Big E. Like, hey, I might have to sit over his house and just chew his ear off for a good hour and a half. But the whole time I'm there, he's telling me all of the things that I need to hear. You see, when you understand that you have certain issues, that's what I talk about, knowledge of self. You start to understand your weaknesses. So you surround yourself with people who are strong in those areas, right? This is why Anthony is one of my best friends, because anytime that I start going through something mentally, I can go talk to Anthony, and he'll always have that wise head, and he'll always say, no, man, you just feeling like that because this, that. And it always will bring me back to the level where I need to be and always get me to see the bigger picture. So my best piece of advice for a person is to surround yourself with people who are always going to talk to you positively. See, because that's the best medicine that you could possibly take. For somebody who is eternally sad means you're eternally filled with negative. You're being bombarded with negative thoughts and negative emotions. So the only medicine that can really balance that is some positivity, positive thoughts, and positive emotions. And I think that's where having a really good friend, or having a really good therapist, or a really good counselor, or a really good somebody in your life that you can talk to and that's going to give you that positive. And that's why I encourage seeking out treatment. You see, in the African American community, a lot of black men just don't feel comfortable with talking to a therapist. And it's because there's a stigma that makes you look weak. But really, we all need a release, a form of release. And talking to a therapist, you get a different type of release because you're talking to someone who really has no interest in judging you. They have no interest in any of the things that you're saying other than trying to help you in your purpose of healing. So you don't have to worry about the things that you have to worry about when you're talking to people on the street. Like, oh man, is this person going to spread my business? Is the whole Jackson going to know this, that? You don't have to worry about that when you're dealing with a therapist. It's just like when I tell people, when they step inside of my office, first thing I tell them, like, listen, man, I know you're facing eviction. I'm not your landlord, okay? So anything that you tell me is confidential. This is me and you now. You don't have to worry. It's not going on nobody's record. Anything that you tell me. And this is how it is with a therapist. Most people don't know it, and they never get there. But that's all right. So as you treat, you're in your step 2. You're treating your emotional feelings. So you want to flip it around. Whatever you're feeling, you want to give it the opposite. You want to give it the opposite. This is what I tell myself. So those days when I'm feeling sad and I'm feeling really depressed about whatever it is in life that I'm feeling depressed about, it may be about my bills. If it's about my bills, I might go to another friend who pays bills. And I might go, friend, man, I'm just struggling this week, man. Bills are tough. And they're going to say the same thing. Yes, yeah, it is tough. But you are a home owner. You are paying your bills. And it's a different type of feeling when you're broke and all your bills are paid. And then they encourage that response from you that's like, yeah, you're right. It is a different type of feeling. And then you see some of the stress starts easing off. So as you begin to work your way through these problems, you reach out to your resources. You allow your resources to reach you, and you'll start to feel a different type of healing. But you have to surround yourself with people that are going to be positive, that are going to be that positive influence in your life, that are going to say those positive things to you, that are sometimes even going to tell you the things that you don't want to hear. You know, plenty of times I reach out to my friends and they tell me the exact thing that I didn't want them to say. But they're saying the thing that's most best for me in that situation. And even though I didn't want to hear it at that time, they're always going to tell me something that's going to be true. And that's why I make sure I surround myself with people like that. And you should too, especially when you're dealing with depression. So treat the depression. Whatever it is that you have to do to treat the depression, recognize it early, hit it hard with your treatment, get your body back on track. Get your body back on track. Because if you let it get too far in, you let it go too far in, that's why I say you get to the point of no return. Point of no return. Let me hit y'all with a quick commercial, man, and then a quick track. See how y'all like this one.
All praise to the Most High. Made it this far, even under gray skies. Take a look at my past, you didn't think I'd last. But I did even have a wife and kids. Living testimony of God's grace. Been through a lot, probably more to face. But I'm focused on the future God goes to chase. Jumping over every obstacle that's in my way. Hey, lost family and friends, that's given. Been broke, unemployed, boy, that's living. To know where you come from and where you're headed. Overcame the struggle, even though I had to hustle. Never said I was an angel, far from the devil. Can't nobody tell me that I'm not special. Created in God's image, you need to be replenished. I got the juice, no bitch.
Ups and downs, I'ma keep on jumping till I can't touch the ground. I know it's hard, but I've made it so far. I've made it so far.
So far.
I don't know where I'm gonna go. I keep jumping over.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Money means nothing, be humble when you're suffering. Repercussion of karma, I'll peel you out your armor. Go the world naked, feeling up forsaken. I'm here to say that I made it. It's possible to overcome the obstacles. Be positive and still be profitable. Guns and drugs shoved in your face, they may seem marketable. Storms out to fire, seen lives taken. Ribbon in the sky, some didn't make it. Food for thought, all you need is a blanket. This a day in the park, demonstration of my art. Don't be a slave to the system. Amaze the world with your difference. It only takes one ear to listen, one eye to see, one leg to leap, one person to change. Why can't it be me?
Ups and downs, I'ma keep on jumping till I can't touch the ground. I know it's hard, but I've made it so far. I've made it so far. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I keep jumping over. Ups and downs, I'ma keep on jumping till I can't touch the ground. I know it's hard, but I've made it so far. I've made it so far. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I keep jumping over.
All right. Shout out to Lamar Robinson, aka J Dot. That track is called Jumpin'. Like I tell y'all all the time, he's one of my favorite artists around here. Alright, we're talking about tools of beating depression. Just a quick recap. Step number 1 is recognize your depression early. Catch it early. Catch it before it gets too late and before it starts to get to the point where nothing you do will bring you out of it. You want to make sure that you reach out, talk to someone. That leads you into step 2, seek treatment. Whether that be reaching out to your specialist, your therapist, whether it's your best friend, who is your free therapist. I call my best friends my free therapist. You want to take that time to go into step 3, which is self-reflect. You want to self-reflect. I take those times after I've brought myself out of the hole. I've talked to my circuit of friends. I've got my advice. I've got people to listen to me complain and gripe for a while. And then I take this time to self-reflect. What I mean by self-reflect is it's part of the recognize phase, is understanding what led you to feeling the way that you're feeling now. What all occurred to lead you to where you're feeling right now at this moment. This is part of knowledge of self, understanding yourself. Because when you understand yourself, you'll understand the patterns that you have as a person. Everybody has patterns. It's part of history. God says there's nothing that hasn't been here before. There's nothing new under the sun. We all experience the same things and experience same experiences. Sometimes they're just different flavors. But no matter what, nothing we face on this earth is truly unique. There's always someone out there that has gone through a similar circumstance as you. And through these numbers, we can find people who have overcame these same similar circumstances. So the self-reflection is much needed, because you can sometimes identify the whole reason why you're spinning into this circle of depression, into this cloud of darkness. It's because this. It might be because they're treating you horrible at your job and they just don't appreciate you the way they're supposed to appreciate you. You going to work every day during the coronavirus and all these other people talking about they getting paid extra money just to sit at home, and all this time you got to fight through the coronavirus and you ain't even getting no raise. You still making the same little money that you was making before. Or you might be a nurse working as an essential person and you're not even receiving the COVID pay that you was promised. Might lead you into a depression and you start going down that black hole. That's when you got to pull yourself out of it. And you got to recognize the signs. Recognize what it is that you're feeling. Why am I feeling this? See, if you can answer those questions, that can lead you to healing. Why am I feeling this way? When you can start to answer that, that will get you closer to the healing that you need. One of the biggest things that I've noticed about being depressed is you get filled with a lot of the negatives. I think that's how that spirit of depression operates. It really operates off of negative energy and negative emotions. That's why I try my hardest to surround myself with positivity, positive emotions, positive affirmations. Because the more you feed the soul, the more you feed your body positive, the better you're going to be. It's just really simple. Really simple math. The more positive that I intake, the more positive that I put out, the better that I'll be. But if I sulk and I continually feed myself negative things, that's all that's going to come back to me. For example, my wife used to be like one of the biggest scary movie fanatics ever. She loved all the scary movies, the Jasons, the Halloweens, all of those, the things that just make you terrified, the ghost stories, things like that. And sometimes she would have like really bad nightmares. And I would tell her all the time, it's because of what you're watching. You know, you're watching these movies with demons and stuff, and then all of a sudden you You having dreams and nightmares with these demons. I'm having demons, nightmares just from watching this stuff too. So once you start fading that out of your life, start replacing that with something else, you'll notice that stuff go away. So when I start replacing some things with positive things, I notice I feel better. I learned to start my day not by just jumping on Facebook and looking at negative posts after negative posts after negative posts after negative posts and then jumping up, going out into the world. No, I'm going to start my day with some positive stuff. That's where we get to the next step. Some affirmations. Affirmations. What is it? Affirmations? Just simply, it's just being thankful. Being thankful. See, when you're negative, it gets you stuck on what you don't have. But see, when you're thankful for everything that you do have. And you learn to appreciate all the things that you do have. And then all the things that you don't have don't matter as much. That's why I start my day with some affirmations. Now, first I had to listen to some on YouTube. I love YouTube. It's a beautiful resource. It's a beautiful tool for people. Anything that I need to know how to do, I YouTube it. So I YouTube real quick some affirmations and I listen to them. Listen to those affirmations. It might start off something similar like this. Thank you. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for life. Thank you for these four walls that I have that secure me and my family. Thank you for the financial blessings that I have. Even though it's not where I need it to be, thank you for at least getting me all the things that I need. Thank you for all of the friends that I have. Thank you for my relationships. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for our environment. Thank you for our neighborhood being peaceful last night. Thank you for the sun being beautiful yesterday and the sun shining so that it allowed me to do yard work. Thank you for the universe. Thank you for the moon. Thank you for the dogs in the neighborhood for being quiet as I slept last night. No matter what it is, I'm just thankful for it. I'm thankful for my career. I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for my boss. Even when she's not happy with me, I'm thankful for her. Because no matter what, my boss is allowing me to feed and provide my family. See, when you start to treat your brain with positive affirmations, it's easier. I'm not going to say that you're going to always win, but it's easier to defeat those negative feelings and those negative emotions. See, when you have positive affirmations in your life and you really start to get thankful for things, then when those emotions come that try to mess up everything, it's easier to defeat them. And I know it might sound like it's just a bunch of talk and I don't really know what I'm talking about, but let me just tell you this. I've been working at my job for a whole year. I don't miss work at all. Okay? Now, me in the past, I used to get really good jobs and I would quit them out of the blue after 90 days. You can ask anybody close to me. It was a pattern that I recognized while I was sitting in prison. I recognized, like, man, I worked at every good place, every good factory in town. I was always one of the top workers. My supervisors always loved me. I never had a problem with anywhere that I worked. But all of a sudden, one day, I would wake up in the depression, in the darkness, and all of a sudden, I would just be like, man, screw this job. I ain't going to work today. What I'm going to work for? Child support taking 55% of my check. Why would you go to work? Forget that. I'm not going to work. I'm doing all of this slaving for what? And I would talk myself out of a job. Right then and there. No call, no show. I did that for most of my life. For most of my life. I was in the military at 18 years old in the Air Force. I was an aircraft technician. I worked on fuel systems, on C-117s, the Loadmasters. I was stationed in Washington, Tacoma, Washington, at McChord Air Force Base. I had one of the most requested bases I was living in. I had one of the most prestigious jobs. I worked on airplanes as an 18-year-old kid, and that wasn't enough for me. It didn't entice me to want to stay there and do the right things. I still wanted to be the kid that was out in the street and lived the cool life and lived the fast life. Because in my mental health and in my depression, I wanted to be liked by everybody. I wanted everybody to like me. And when people didn't like me, then I would fall in depressions. And when things didn't go for me, I would fall in depressions and feel like I had to completely start all over. No matter what it was. It could be a job, it could be a career, it could be a hobby. Didn't matter what it was. I was one of the most talented rappers in Jackson for a long time. But what stood in my way of even achieving small town success was myself and my own mental health, my own depression, and my own poor choices. Because when you're depressed, you start making poor choices. Because you can't think properly, because your brain isn't really functioning the way that it should be functioning. So you start making poor choices. And then you start doing things that you never did before. Now all of a sudden you go from being in the military to having a felony record. And then that spirals you further and further and further down the hole of darkness. I know it's not easy to pick yourself up out of that. I've been through it. I know it's hard. But that's where knowledge of self comes in. That's where making sure that you feed your body with positive affirmations. Positive affirmations is going to be huge to your survival. Especially when you're dealing with negative emotions, when you have those negative thoughts in your head. So my side trick that I always use, whatever the negative thought that comes in, I always hit it with the opposite positive thought. So if you wake up and the thought is, man, I'm ugly today. Man, I'm ugly. I just look terrible. Look at your face. It's all spotted up. You got all these bumps on your face. Oh my God, you got this huge zit on your nose. Jeez, you just look ugly. As soon as that thought hits your head, I immediately rebuke the thought. No, you're beautiful. You're created beautiful. Just the way that you are. And you are fortunate to have a partner that loves you just the way that you are. So you don't even have to worry about none of that. Because the body that we're in, it's dying. And in fact, in the proverb, it says beauty is like putting a ring on a pig's nose. It's pointless. Like beauty, what we see as beauty is pointless. We're all going to die. You're all going to get wrinkled. We're all going to die. The body is decaying. It's dying on us every minute. So why worry about beauty? Why waste our time worrying about things that we can't control? Right? We worry about the things that we can control. Your finances and your bills, you can control those things. You just got to tighten up a little bit on your extra spending. And this is what gets you out of those depressive habits when you talk about loose spending. See, I was one of those people. Still am sometimes. Get depressed, I want to buy things. Buy my wife something, buy me something. It might be something small. She come home from work, I done ordered her a new Sims pack. Brand new air fryer. And a new vacuum cleaner. Like, look what I got, honey. All online. It's a disease, but you have to treat it. You have to treat it right. Learn your body, learn yourself. Treat your depression with whatever it is that makes you happy. Whatever it is that makes you happy. As long as it's not a negative thing. You don't want to treat your depression with a negative thing. That's not what you want to do, because that's just a coping mechanism. You don't want a bad coping mechanism. You want something positive. You want that real medication. You know. See, people that suffer from ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, they develop coping mechanisms. Things like smoking, gambling, bad eating habits, and poor sexual habits. Poor sexual habits is like having many sex partners, things like that. See, addiction comes in many different levels and many different flavors. But a lot of times you see addiction goes hand in hand with mental health. And why I'm stressing all of this so much is because I know that during all of this quarantine, you're sitting in the house in your four walls. I see so many people on Facebook, they compare being in prison. Like, oh my gosh, this is prison, being locked out in my house. I can't leave the house nowhere. We can't go nowhere. We can't go sit at a restaurant. You know, there's nothing to do. That's the depression kicking in, and I understand it. I get the same thoughts, I get the same emotions. And that's why you got to recognize it early and you treat it with something. Get your brain busy, find something to do. Then later on you can self-reflect on those emotions, figure out why I'm feeling like this, figure out why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, and then you can heal. Hit yourself with some positive affirmations as your final step. That way that you can start your next day better. You don't have to go through the same feelings that you were feeling before. And you repeat the process as much as necessary. As much as necessary. I began to change my habits as I began to change my life. I used to only watch like gangster movies, things with a lot of killing, a lot of drug dealing, a lot of sex. Now this stuff don't even entice me to watch. A lot of things that other people watch on the TV, I just really don't care to watch. Most of the time, I don't even care to watch movies. You know, if it wasn't for me and my wife having interest in certain movies, I wouldn't even watch TV at all. If it wasn't for certain TV shows that we watch together, I wouldn't even watch TV at all. I would mostly just watch and follow sports and watch YouTube. Like, basically, I watch YouTube more than anything. And then even with that, I have to be careful because certain things on there can lead you into dark places. So I make sure I fill my YouTube scrolls up with positive things. I make sure I listen to my daily motivationals, whether it be whoever it may be for that day. But I make sure I have my positive motivationals on because sometimes I might need that motivation in the morning. Sometimes I might listen to some affirmations because I might not be feeling well enough to throw my own out there. But you got to strengthen the body up. You got to give the body some tools. Remember, tools in the toolbox. The more tools I got, the more resources I got, the easier it is to get the job done. You don't feed the depression with negative. You want to feed it with some positive. That's how you treat it. Go see your therapist. Your therapist might need to adjust a few things. You might need to just talk some things off your chest. You might just need to talk to your husband or talk to your wife and just get some things off your chest. But deal with the depression. Don't wallow in it. Don't let it drown you. Fight the battle. It's in your mind. You recognize it, you treat it, and then you can self-reflect. Feed your body that positive affirmation, build up you some strength. Because once you start to get thankful for life, and thankful for the universe, and thankful for the sun, just thankful for the sun. I remember being in prison in one of the most horrible environments that you could possibly be in. And I remember feeling like wanting to go home, but at the same time, I wasn't depressed. I remember being so thankful for just having life, because I was working at the prison hospital and I was seeing men die every day, die as a number, not as their name. They were just a number. And sometimes some men were left unclaimed because they had no family left to claim them. So they were buried as a number. So I began to have gratitude even back then, sitting in the cell. I used to be thankful for the opportunity to even get outside the gates every single day, working as a gate pass, a trusted inmate where I could work at the prison hospital at Duane Waters. I was thankful for that small opportunity of small freedom. I was thankful for the fact that one day I was going to be getting out and I didn't have to die in there. And I began to pray for things. And then as I started receiving those things, those blessings, those things that I asked for, I remained thankful for those things. So now, when the bad thoughts come up, like, man, you're paying 55% of your child support, you don't get no stimulus check, this, that. I can defeat those thoughts easily. Like, hey, you got a wonderful career, you have a wonderful family, you bought a house. Even with all of these things and all of these challenges in your way, every time it seems like it's over, you always overcome it. Relax, it's going to be all right. Experiences matter. And once you start changing your experiences, when you start using those experiences in a positive way, you'll start to see major change. You'll start to see major change. It all starts with education. Education and knowledge of self. Understanding yourself and how you operate. Understands what sets you off. Understand what makes you mad. Understand what makes you sad. Understand what makes you cry, and understand why you're crying. Understand why you're getting angry. Understand why you keep having problems in your relationships. Understand why you keep failing in your jobs. Then you can start to treat these problems. And you treat those problems by educating yourself or getting education in areas where you're weak or areas where you need help. And that's where I talk about your tools for your toolkit. So if my wife is complaining I'm not being a very good husband, what am I going to go do? I'm going to go talk to some guys that I know that are good husbands. Figure out what it is that they do different that I'm not doing right. I might have to read some books. I might have to watch some YouTube videos. But I'll go find the tools that I need necessary. And you figure it out. I think if we all follow these steps, I think that it will help you so that you don't drown in a depression. Like I said, if you catch it early, you recognize your patterns. It might not It might not work the first time. It may not work the second time. It may not work the third time. But eventually, you'll go through the same patterns of depression. And you'll be able to recognize it early. Figure out what treats your depression, so it helps you get out of it. It may be your wife, it may be your husband, it may be your best friend, it may be your favorite song. It may be just going to shoot some hoops. It may be I might go crochet a blanket or fly the drone. But treat your depression. Then take some time for self-reflection. Understand why you're feeling that way. And then last, you want to hit yourself with some positive affirmation. Find some things to be thankful for. That way, the universe will respond to you back in a positive way.
Hakeem, J. Jers, Dream Team, Big Chips. Lyrically gifted, I keep your mind swifted. Spoken word poetry, I keep your hearts lifted. Universal bound, I travel across the stars, landed on earth. I traveled that far, back in existence since my time of birth. My soul is timeless, I know my true worth. Open up a book, I read it in Lord. Take it off the shelf, study some more. Sermonizing facts, kick it on the track. Vibrate with them, count them to a stack. Lesson now learned, you got money to burn. Take it to the bank, it's the wealth you earn. Feed it to the poor and it live in your soul. Strive in life if you want much more. Put down the pen, pick up the pen. Free from the pen, 5 plus 10.
United we stand, divided we fall. If we could come together, we could go to Mars. From the land of the kings, we could conquer all. But without education, we ain't going that far. United we stand, divided we fall. If we could come together, we could go to Mars. From the land of the kings, we could conquer all. But without education, we ain't going that far. My third eye's awoken, I see the skies open. Knowledge of self, encourage words of focus. Youngin' in the game, but the words so explosive. And I don't watch TV, the message so corrosive. Access to the brain feels like I'm getting dumber. I see the Chinese go to school through the summer. All we think about is money, boy, flossing in the Hummer. And riding around with cash, trying to be the top gunner. Growing up broke, no daddy in sight. And mom's complaining how the man ain't treating her right. Education be a ticket to take flight. Brother Malcolm told us before, all we gotta do is fight. If you wanna take back what we had from the start, it's gonna take dedication in the warrior's heart. Obama set the mark, and now we got a new standard. I'm hoping that this shit is just real like this. United we stand, divided we fall. If we could come together, we could go to Mars. From the land of the kings, we could conquer all. But without education,
We ain't going that far. Shout out to Hakeem. He allowed me to be on that song many years ago. We did that song to promote education because we understood then that education was going to be the pathway to success for our people to rise up out of the ashes, to rise up out of the economic statuses. You're going to need education. We're going to need our community soldiers to reach out and to teach each person that we reach, each person that we teach, with hope that they will not make the same mistakes that we made, that they will not have to experience the same troubles, the same sorrows that we have to experience in life. Raise more community soldiers. I thank y'all for joining us today. It's been a great episode. I hope y'all stay tuned in as we continue to hit some of the hardest topics, hit some of the hardest issues to talk about. It's just me talking about my feelings. If we want to bring your opinions, you want to say something or bring another side, definitely we would love to hear your opinion on the show. You can always call the show. Y'all peace out, man. Stay blessed. Stay safe.